Life Orientation, Lesson 9. Topic: Your lifestyle choices, your footprint, environmental, community, and societal issues. Turn to Lesson 9 in the Learner's Workbook. This lesson includes an individual and group activity with formative assessment. Integration. The environment is an integral and important aspect of our lives. Environmental, community, and societal issues integrate across life experiences and impact on each other. Prior knowledge. You have dealt with environmental, community, and socio-economic factors in many earlier lessons in previous grades. Your experience with the topic today will be based on what you have learned before, especially the knowledge and skills gained in Grade 9 Life Orientation lessons dealing with this topic. Lesson Overview. In this lesson you will focus on environmental, community, and societal issues. Explore in which ways you can contribute to changing these problem areas. Design appropriate activities to encourage participation in environmental, community, and societal issues.
Hi, I'm Rajan Pillai. Thanks for joining me on this lifelong journey. We're going to cover over the next 9 lessons a broad theme which covers the environment, community, and societal issues. But in today's lesson, we're going to cover some of your lifestyle choices and look at your footprint. What are we going to cover today is basically focusing on 4 aspects. The first one is to identify some environmental issues. The second one is to look at some of your lifestyle choices. The third one is to look at how your lifestyle choices impacts on the environment. And the fourth one is to look at how can we plan in a way where we have less impact on the environment. Learning Outcome 1, Personal Well-being. We're going to cover Assessment Standard 3. You'll find that we may not cover the entire assessment standard, but rather focus on parts of the assessment standard. For an example, strategies to make responsible decisions regarding your lifestyle choices. I think what you need to keep in mind as well is that sometimes some of these learning outcomes and assessment standards would integrate with each other, as well as with assessment standards and learning outcomes from other subjects or learning areas that you might be doing at school. The next learning outcome, which is going to be the focus learning outcome of today's lesson, is going to be citizenship education. And we're going to focus on Assessment Standard 1. We're going to identify social and environmental issues and try and participate in a group project to address one of the contemporary social and environmental issues that we've identified. And examples of these are abuse and depletion of resources. We're going to look at cover Learning Outcome 3 as well, recreation and physical well-being. And here you're going to plan an activity, but keeping in mind when you're designing this activity some of the environmental impacts that you can have when you eventually conduct this activity. And you're going to reflect on your own participation in this activity. I want you now to look at these statements and give me your response to the statements. You may write them down, think carefully about them, and a simple yes or no response will do. That wasn't difficult, was it? Now, if you've answered yes to any of these statements, it means that you are having a big impact on the environment. So what's the big deal about the environment? Now, I want you to look very carefully at the next video clip. you are growing up, you think you need much more, or probably it's that you want and not really need more. The amount of waste we are producing is increasing. Have you thought about it? Every time you spend hours in front of the TV, watching everything, or playing video game, do you realize that you've wasted valuable time away from some physical activity, as well as you've wasted a whole lot of electricity? Every time you eat out with your friends or with your family, do you think about the amount of food that you waste? Do you consider the packaging that goes into all the food that is served to you? Or when you think you've had enough and you want to take the rest home, do you think about the packaging in which the food is sent to you to take back home? The world is concerned. We are concerned because you are the future generation. You need an environment that is healthy, not an environment that has been destroyed. We need to look very carefully at our current lifestyles. But to show international concern, the United Nations has declared the years 2005 to 2014 as the decade of education for sustainable development. Frequently, abbreviation DESD is used. But quite often when we think about the environment, we think only about the natural environment. But that thinking has changed over the years. Now we look at a kind of model which shows that the natural environment, the social environment, and the economic environment are actually linked to each other. But you'll note that the natural environment has been placed on the outside. What is it telling us? It is telling us that all human activity, whether it's social, economic, is ultimately dependent on the natural environment. So now we've come to identify three dimensions of the environment: the natural environment, the social, and the economic, which means that every time we plan an activity, we need to consider all three aspects of the environment. And if we go back to this model, you will see that there is a dotted line around the circle of the social and the economic, which means that when we consider these aspects, they need not be considered independently, but rather they interlink with each other. These problems are complex, aren't they? They are not as easy as we think they are. But remember, you are a citizen of this country, and every one of us together eventually makes a difference. So what does our Constitution say about the environment? Let's take a look. The South African Constitution, in Chapter 2, the Bill of Rights, Section 24, very categorically refers to the environment, and it states that everyone has a right to an environment that is not harmful to their health or well-being, and to have the environment protected for the benefit of the present and future generations through reasonable legislative and other measures that prevent pollution and ecological degradation, promotes conservation, and secures ecological sustainable development and the use of natural resources while promoting justifiable economic and social development. These might seem like a very detailed set of words in front of you, or phrases in front of you. But very simply, if you think about the model that you've just seen, about the three dimensions of the environment, it makes it very much simpler. It is simply saying that in our human activities, in all our human activities, be they social or economic, we must always keep in mind the natural environment, the social dimension, keep in mind that we want to develop ourselves and people, and this might be through economic means.